1, 2, 3, 4.
Americans moving abroad to find the American dream. This is what we've gotten to in this country. The economy, the price of things, cost of living is insane. Buying a house is just a joke at this point. I mean, it's just so expensive. People are deciding to move abroad. I mean, that's where we're at.
You're not depressed, you just live in the US. I moved from the US to Europe and I plan on never going back. Living here has been so affordable and stress-free. I even had my baby here. It cost me about $1,300 to give birth here, and I got paid $400 by the state.
I do think a lot of these people, man, like they make these videos to say how great these other countries are, and I feel like in some way they just want to shit on the US, but at the same time I understand they want to do what they think is best for themselves and their family, because by moving abroad they can live a better quality of life. But the money that you're making is dollars. You're hired by an American company. The United States gave you the opportunity and the college degree to get that job, right? And so the United States gave you that foundation to get where you're at so that you can live abroad, right? And that's not me saying that to talk shit about them or say what they're doing is wrong necessarily. You got to do what's best for you and your family. I do get that, but I personally think that we should probably stay in the country and try and make things better and get involved politically and things of that sort. But I mean, hey, to each his own.
To have a baby here. It's just such a different culture here. Like, people aren't only centered by their work and their job. You get to actually enjoy life and do things on your own time. And I feel like right now is probably the best time to leave the US. And yes, that's everywhere in the world, but it's just so different when you live in a country other than the US. I moved to a tiny country in Europe for the past year, and I am 6 hours ahead of the US. So that means 3 p.m. here is 9 a.m. there. So I have until 3 p.m. every single day to do whatever I want to do. It's been
I mean, what she mentioned with regards to healthcare, I mean, yes, healthcare here is insanely expensive. In most parts of Europe, it's free and, you get good quality healthcare. But, as I mentioned, she's making dollars, and that's why the quality of life is better for her there. But if she was making the local currency, she wouldn't be she would probably be wanting to come back to the United States, though the quality of life there is usually good and it's cheaper to live, but salaries are extremely low because you don't necessarily need a lot to live a decent life. But to live the way she wants to live, she would need dollars to live that way, right? And so the United States is blessing her, right? She's being blessed by the United States, the foundation that she was given to actually live this life in another country, because she's making dollars, which goes way further than the local currency there. So, if I were to make a video like this, I would first say hey, I'm so grateful to my country for giving me the opportunity to live abroad, right? Not hey, screw the United States. I'm going to move abroad and, it's better here. You're depressed over there. Get out of there. I mean, it's the United States is the reason why you're able to live in this country, lady.
Incredible. So if you can, move out of the US and live in another country, because life is just so much simpler elsewhere. The food is better, the air is cleaner, the education is free, the healthcare is free, and you'll have a lot higher quality of life elsewhere other than the US.
But as I mentioned, I do agree that, things are insanely expensive here, and it's getting very difficult to live here. Groceries. I made a video about fast food. Extremely expensive now for people to take your kids out. Let's say you got 3 kids, you go to fast food, you spend like $50 just to take your kids to, to get a Happy Meal. I mean, think groceries, price of eggs, milk, housing is so unaffordable. Rent is ridiculously unaffordable. I mean, so yeah, I do understand. At the same time, I do understand why they're doing it. They're doing it for their families, for themselves to live a better quality of life. And some people feel like they have no other choice because things are so expensive here. So I totally understand all that. But at the same time, I feel like there is some level of shitting on the United States, more of like a resentment against the United States in some of these videos. Some people do say, hey, I love my country. Thank you. I'm grateful. It's given me the opportunity. But most videos I see is just get out of there. It's shit. You're depressed. She was like, oh, you're probably depressed. Get out of there. I don't think that's the way. And me personally, I think we should stay here and try and make the country better, get involved politically, pick it outside of these politicians' houses. Get start a YouTube channel like I'm doing. Do something to change the situation in the country instead of just fleeing. Because if we all flee, we don't have a country anymore, right? So let's check out this one.
I live and work in Spain, making roughly 1,000 euros a month, which in America is nothing, but in Spain is more than enough to live. I only work 16 hours a week, and I'm able to afford a super nice apartment in the city center of Madrid. Food costs me 20 euros a week. My electric bill is like 30 euros a month. I don't have to worry about gas or a car payment or insurance because the public transportation system is so world class that you don't even need a car at all.
So there's a little bit of deception in this video. Because I know a little bit about Spain, and 1,000 euros is a little bit too low. You have to be kind of careful with some of these people. They make it seem like these places in other countries are so perfect and you only need 1,000 euros. That's a bit too low. Though the other thing she's saying is correct. The public transportation in Spain is amazing, and the public transportation in the United States is abysmal and garbage, and that's all due to corruption because these companies lobby the United States government not to build high-speed rail and good public transportation because they want us buying cars, they want us flying in planes. And so if you go to China, you go to Europe, they have incredible public transportation. You don't have to drive. If you can go anywhere in Europe by train. I mean, it's pretty sad. The healthcare in Spain has very low cost to live there. And so those things she's saying is correct, but 1,000 euros, you have to be so careful. Don't listen to her and say, 1,000 euros, let's go to Europe. It's so cheap, it's perfect. No, you have to be super careful with some of these things that these people say.
Madrid is like the New York of Spain, except if you were living in the city center of New York, you'd have to be making literally at least 5 grand a month, and that's extremely lowballing it. Just their way of life in general, is so much more relaxed and just taking time to enjoy life rather than just working constantly. They literally have a siesta in the middle of the day where they take 3 hours to go nap or go to a coffee shop to hang out with friends. The American mind cannot fathom. It's just crazy to me because you've been told growing up your whole life that America is the best country in the world. That's just so far from the truth. And it's very obvious how much worse it is now.
Look, I get the United States has problems. I get it. Trust me. I know there's cost of living issues here, but overall I think it's still a great country to live in. I love being here. I love my country. And I think it's a little bit overrated in terms of moving abroad, especially, to these European countries. There's a lot of political turmoil there, a lot of problems with immigration and crime in a lot of those, European cities. And, the cost of living there is cheaper. That's 100% sure. You don't need to make a lot of money in Europe to live a decent quality of life. But if you go online and you look at a lot of these, videos about Europeans, a lot of them want to come to the States. They're like, I want to get the hell out of Germany. I want to go move to Miami and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's very subjective. I do get it. I mean, look at this. This is incredible. Over 1.5 million immigrants have left the United States so far. I mean, this is partly obviously because the immigration crackdown, but this is also because they can't afford to live here anymore. They came here to make money, to live a better quality of life, but also to send money back home, right? But if they're spending all the money on themselves just to live here because the cost of living is so high, and they can't send money back to their families, they're just like, screw it, I'm just going to go back home. I mean, I'm not able to help my family in this country anymore because it's so expensive here, right? I might as well go back home and be with my family, right? That's what's going on here. 1.5 million immigrants left willingly. They're not even desperate enough to try and evade ICE so that they can stay and make money to send back to their families because they're like, it's not even worth it anymore. It's too expensive. It's too expensive here. They're spending all their money just on groceries, so they can't even send money home anymore, right? More. Record numbers of Americans are leaving the United States. Many migrate to Europe using citizenship by ancestry. So a lot of people are like, hey, I have Italian ancestry, French ancestry. How do I get citizenship in Europe to get out of here? Because the cost of living. So I think there's a lot to be said here, about the cost of things. And it's just, there's an argument to be made to move abroad. I just don't like the undertones of shitting on your home country, right? Because this still is an amazing place to live, even though the cost of living is high. The US is facing a cost of living job market crisis at the same time. So look, US, the consumer sentiment is at one of the lowest levels in history, and this is part of the reason why people are moving abroad. They feel like there's no hope in terms of cost of living. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So the consumer sentiment is the lowest levels in history. This is comparable to the financial crisis and inflation crisis of the 1970s. Americans are more pessimistic about the job market. Yep. I mean, so look, I get it. If you can make dollars and live abroad, I understand there is an argument to be made there. But remember, you are making dollars. You did get that job because you got an American degree with an American company. Most of these people are not making the local currency. They're digital nomads, right? So you have to say, you have to be grateful that you were even given that opportunity, because the locals don't make dollars. They're making the local currency, right? So they're like, I'm not living the way you're living, right? Let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. What do you guys think? Are these people right? Should we all start moving abroad if we can be digital nomads and take our money and live abroad, or should we stay and try and make the country better? Should there be more gratitude and less shitting on the country? Which, I mean, that should be the obvious answer there, is like, yes, we should not be, shitting on the country as much. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, guys.